Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Scene 1, take 1. Scene 1, take 2.
Kia ora and welcome to Capital D News. I'm Madeline.
And I'm Callum. In today's stories, a new crime wave is sweeping the country in the form of woolen graffiti. Scientists have invented an invisibility cloak. We help them find it and the latest in the weather around the country. But first, a story that will turn your world upside down.
If you think world is getting more and more topsy-turvy, it turns out you're right. Builders in Germany have built an upside-down house, and before you think they may have read the plans upside down, they did it on purpose. The wacky board was built as a tourist attraction, as well as being a comment on the state of the world. The house is 23 feet tall and rests on the roof, and has a steel beams in the attic. Inside the house there are beds screwed to the ceiling, upside down wardrobes and upside down kitchen, and even an upturned bedroom, though it is not known if anyone has tried to bath in it or go to the toilet. Normally a house like this would take 3 weeks to build. This one took over 4 months because the workers kept getting confused by the strange angles of the walls. Many tourists visiting the house complain of feeling sick and dizzy just after a few minutes inside. We now cross over to our reporter, Casey, who is inside the house. How are you feeling, Casey?
Thanks, Madeline. I'm here with the owner of the house, Anna, and I'm feeling dizzy. So why did you decide to make an upside-down house?
Well, when I was a child, I loved to climb up trees and hang upside down on one of the branches.
What statements do you think the upside-down house makes to the world?
Well, the world is a very topsy-turvy place, and you don't know if you're up or you're down.
What are some of the challenges of living in an upside-down house?
Well, making dinner is difficult, but having a bath is extremely hard.
How does the drainage system work, Anna?
Well, it starts at the top and it works its way to the bottom, but the house is up the other way, so it starts at the bottom and works its way to the... yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Anna. I'm Casey for Duvauchelle School News. Back to you in the studio, Madeline.
Thanks, Casey. Even watching that makes me feel like vomiting. And now for a story that is truly out of sight. Look out, Harry Potter. The world of science is catching up to the world of magic. Scientists in Europe have created a 3D invisibility cloak, which can hide objects by bending light waves. It has been found that light can be controlled using special tiny crystals. They make objects disappear. So far, scientists have made small objects such as coins disappear, but hope that it won't be long before they are hiding cars, planes, and even people. People have always dreamed of making themselves invisible. One top scientist says that possibilities are endless and we are very excited. However, since inventing the invisibility cloak, the scientists have been having trouble finding it. And as soon as we put it down somewhere, it just disappears. The inventor of the cloak said it appears they are having trouble finding it. Other things too. They like their lunch, which they think may be underneath the cloak. What will this invention actually be used for? Hoping to see through the reasons behind the invisibility cloak, here is our on-the-spot reporter with more on this story.
Hello, I'm Sally, and with me is Bianca, one of the scientists behind the invisibility cloak. Hi Bianca, and thank you for coming. Bianca! You gave me a fright! Wow. What made you want to make an invisibility cloak?
Well, when I was a kid, I had a diary, and my older brother and sister kept on looking in it. So I decided to make a way to make it vanish.
How does the invisibility cloak work?
Well, there are lots of it's made up of crystals, which makes anything behind it vanish.
What do you think the cloak will be used for?
I hope and think that it should be used for hiding objects that are important.
How many attempts did it take to make the invisibility cloak?
That's a hard one. It took about 25 attempts.
Well, that makes things very clear. Thank you for joining us, and we're out of time. And back to you, Madeline, in the studio.
Thanks, Sally. And now, how's this for an interesting yarn? A new wave of graffiti crime is covering the country thanks to an underground gang known as the Midnight Knitters. These wool-waving criminals are covering branches and lampposts with small jerseys and scarves under the cover of darkness. Police say the knitted activities of the gang are illegal because the woolly crimes are being done on public property without permission. The popularity of woolen graffiti is growing. More and more public objects are being wrapped and up every night. But the problem is growing. Police say and warn that the Midnight Knitters aren't caught soon. Every tree, lamppost and traffic light in the country will be warmly dressed against the cold. The problem is spinning out of control. A close-knit group of dyed-in-the-wool criminals who are stitching together a case, but it's nothing seamless. There is no real pattern to the crimes, a police spokesman said today. So far, our criminal knitters have escaped arrest and continue to pull wool over the eyes of both the public and the people, police. We go now to a secret location with our investigator reporter Ben, who has an exclusive interview with one of the Midnight Knitters gang.
Thanks, Madeline. I'm Ben, investigator reporter, and joining me today is one of the members of the Midnight Knitters gang. Thanks to Oa. What led you into the dark underworld of knitting graffiti?
Well, I made a sweatshirt for my nephew last year, but he threw it back at my face because he didn't like it. That made me sad all that day.
Do you see yourself as a criminal? Why? Or why not?
No, because it's nice to see wool on other things except for just people.
Besides trees, lampposts and traffic lights, what else do you like to knit your woolens on?
Cars. Yeah, cars.
What's your masterpiece?
Oh yeah, tank. I did a nice pink one for a tank. Pink cover for a tank. Yeah, that looked nice.
Were you there when the driver first saw the tank with its woolens on?
Yeah, I can remember those exact words. He said, "Ole macaroni."
Thanks for your time to Oa of the Midnight Knitters gang.
I brought you a present. I hope you liked it.
I don't like knitted stuff. Jeez.
Yeah, I do.
we now go over to Patrick with the weather update.
Thank you, Ben, and good evening, New Zealand. Let's have a look at tomorrow's weather. Starting in the far north, Kaitaia, look out for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. Moving down to Auckland, there'll be a mix of fair conditions and unfair conditions. But those are the conditions and you'll have to accept them. There will be no weather at all for the Bay of Plenty. It's taking a short holiday, but it's expected to be back for the weekend. In Napier and Hastings, the weather will be sometimes changeable and sometimes not. We really have no idea what will happen there. In the Taranaki, a mild depression brings in the very dull day. With no highlights at all, it will be overcast and gloomy all morning. But things should clear up by the evening, so don't worry, everything will be fine. And Wellington will have another capsule day. There will be no wind at all and the day conditions will be so pleasant they will actually be extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can expect to have a good day, meeting friends for lunch, going for a swim, reading the newspapers, but try to stay indoors as the weather will be just terrible. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rainfall, some sensible wind, moderate thunderstorms and some of very angry snow. And in the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold and unfriendly until late morning when the sun will pop over for a visit. Everybody likes the sun. That's all from me. Remember, if it's raining outside, that's the weather for you. Good night, New Zealand. Now it's back to the news desk with Madeline and Callum.
Thanks, Patrick. Well, that's all we have time for.
We hope you've enjoyed this evening broadcast. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next time. Until then, I'm Callum.
And I'm Madeline for the Capital D News.
Goodbye.
E he
Inohara.
nora.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Scene 1, take 1.